What's up, guys? It's your boy Brandon and my main man Joel. This is season 2 of Post Nut Clarity, man. It's been a minute, and so we're excited to be back with you guys and to talk about God knows what in only the way that we know how to do it. Man, we're
Unfiltered.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good episode. I think we've got a lot to talk about and some shit to talk. And hopefully you guys always leave entertained and inspired and encouraged and challenged, all of those things. We want you to experience all of those things every time that you hear this. So,
Man, what an intro. Did you practice that?
I didn't practice that.
But I love it, brother.
But I used to take up offering at the church, and so we always had to be ready for some kind of speech.
Yeah, you gotta be ready for that one. Man, I have missed the heck out of you, dude.
I missed you too, man.
We took a couple of months off and kind of just, be with family, friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't get to see you, but we talked some. But man, I am so glad to be back.
I know,
Season
man.
2.
I know, man. I even flew into Houston for 24 hours because I had to come in there and work. I saw my mom because it's her birthday, Christmas Eve. I saw the family because it was our first Christmas without our grandmother. And then I went straight to that party. I know I'm friends with a pretty big sports agent out there. And so I do his Christmas party every Christmas Eve. So I wasn't even in the city for 24 hours. And I was back in Jacksonville.
Now I feel like an ex-girlfriend that you just don't want to communicate with, so you don't let her know you come back in the city. That's the kind of feeling like I right this second, man. You didn't even let me know that shit.
Yeah, listen.
Dare
It was quick. It was a quick one.
Firstly, how dare you?
But listen.
I know, man. No, it's all good. It's so fast. 24 hours is nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, you're in and out. That's like a bad date that you like to end in and out.
In and out, please.
Man, new year, 2025.
Yeah,
I got some fun little stuff here.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hit it. Let's see what you got.
Well, first I want to start off with a fun fact. For some reason, I started in 2025, I want to learn, obviously I've always said this, but I want to learn something new in the unknown fun facts. So I heard this a while back and I thought what the hell? I've never heard that before in my life. All right. Do you know anything about octopuses? Not just pussies, but octopuses.
I know they have many tentacles.
Many tentacles. So did you know octopuses
I know they're pretty, aren't they considered one of the smartest animals? They are. Squid, in that area.
Squid and octopus, they're not the same, but they're in the same family. But octopus, did you know they have 3 hearts?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So 2 of them are to pump blood to different extremities in the body. But when they move, when they swim, 2 of them stop. They completely stop beating.
Oh, wow.
So octopus has 3 hearts, 2 pump blood to the gills and 1 pumps to the rest of the body. And because of this, octopus, it's because when they swim, but they tend to not want to swim. They walk because it does affect them when they swim. So they usually do it when they're in danger to get away.
Sure.
But it's not their optimal, scenario to be in. I thought that was crazy. They crawl across the ground over swimming.
About to say, so they'd rather be on the floor than.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why in a lot of your videos, I guess you see them on the bottom of the seafloor.
Yeah,
they're
chilling.
Curled up. They're changing their colors.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. 3 freaking hearts.
That is interesting. And
all
it
serve
starts
right back up. They all serve a purpose.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
So, with New Year's, a lot of people do New Year's resolutions, right? So what I did is I looked back. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Chat GPT and just see if it can give me a list of 10 from 1925, and then 100 years later from 2025, and let's see some similarities in the experience of the human, as well as the differences. So in 2025, starting at number 20 or 10, learn a new hobby was one of the top things. Avoid overspending. Support community. Focus on career growth. Read more books. Embrace modern technology. So a lot of the, Industrial Revolution time, 1925s. Spend more time with family. Quit smoking. It's a big focus.
I blew through that one.
Save money and build financial stability. And number 1, improve health.
1925.
Right. 1925, improve health.
Got it.
So we go to 2025. Number 10, learn new habits, volunteer in your community more, support the law and like be involved in your community, read more and understand technology, embrace modern technology, spend less money, quit smoking, save money. It's number 2. And number 1, improve health.
That's insane. It's pretty much the same thing.
It's pretty much the goddamn same thing. What the fuck? Do we learn? Do we change?
Man, that's a trip.
I think we do in a lot of ways, but I think what this kind of tells me is these are a lot of vices, right? These are a lot of habits and a lot of addictions and supplementary things, spend more time with family. Those can be the easy ones to like let go of, right? They're the closest to you, so you think they're always going to be there. So
of course,
some people tend to like let that fall away, and then they recognize it and want to bring it back. They lose their kids' focus, they lose their partner's focus in a lot of ways, or fuck up a relationship. Man, we just keep repeating things over and over.
You know what? I heard somebody say this some years ago, and I think it kind of rings true to this, is we have to get to a point to where we stop trying and we start doing.
Exactly right.
Everybody, the idea of a New Year's resolution is it's cute, it's sexy, it sounds like the thing you should be striving to do. But just to your point, with the continuity in the list between 1925 and 2025, most people have the same shit on their list, their individual list, every single year going into the new year. And it's probably verbatim. Just I would love to know what the percentage is of people, like if they have a list of 10 that actually end up checking one of those boxes off within their lifetime. Nonetheless within the year in which they set forth to implement it. Like all of those things take. I think even when it comes to spending time with your family, discipline. I think people really, really underestimate the role that being a disciplined individual, and I'm not saying this on a high horse because there's a ton of stuff that I need to get together and do better in my life. But I think, and it's probably even worse now with the society that we live in because things come so quick. You have access to things so fast, and I mean, you can people made millions of dollars on the Trump coin that have never touched had $5 in their bank account at one time overnight, the other day. Like you can do a lot of stuff. Scripture says, what man, when he decides he's going to build a building, doesn't first count up the cost? And I think it would probably do some good for anyone that's putting together any list, whether it's a New Year's resolution or whether you're just trying to do things just in general for yourself, to put next to that goal what it's going to cost me. Because I think that makes it more real at that point. Because in order to get something has to be given up. That's just the bottom line. Exactly. In order for us to do this podcast, we have to give up time for something else in order to give it to this. That's the cost. And I just don't think, I think people, Grant Cardone said this a long time ago, he said people underestimate the amount of effort it takes to reach a goal and the amount of time that's needed to reach a goal. Always. Oh man,
This goes back to, I think we've touched on my vessel theory, right? You're full 24/7. You have to consciously take things out when you add something in your life. If you don't, and you just drop it in your life, you're playing Russian roulette with the fact that it could be kicked out. It's like a weight in a lake. It's gonna fall over. You're gonna potentially let go of a lot of things that are closest to you. If you're adding something and then you regret it, and then you take that thing out because you say that caused this, cause and effect. So you're 100% right. You have to. So there's a book called Wildly Imaginative Goals, and they basically say, look, set your goal, make it simple. If you have a goal in your life and you cannot explain it to a 6-year-old and they understand it and can tell you back what that goal is and why, then your goal is too complicated.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
make it simple.
I agree.
So set your goal, and then you have to come up with the roadmap to accomplish the goal. You can't just say, improve my health. I want to be fit this year. And then just like assume that you can go to the gym and that's going to happen. Right. There are many, many, many steps to getting to a healthy life.
1,000%.
And it is sad when you see someone and they're going down a path and they think that's the path because they're getting the crumbs on top of
Mhm.
what it means to be
Mhm.
healthy. And they're
Mhm.
not actually focused on the root cause of why they're not healthy.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that you don't go to the gym. It's not necessarily that you don't know how to work out or genetics. We understand those are part of it. Let's dive into the foundation of having a healthy life,
Yeah.
whether it be physical. To get to that physical aspect,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of underlying things that you have to get to
Yeah.
keep that goal going, right?
Yeah.
To get to the physical,
Mhm.
because you will let it go if you're not mentally healthy.
1000%.
I jotted down a few things when it comes to a list of things to improve your physical health: nutritional aspect, physical activity, improving sleep, mental and emotional well-being,
Mhm.
avoiding harmful habits,
Yeah.
preventive healthcare, and setting realistic goals.
Mhm.
These are just 10 of kind of like big buckets, right? Of
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on where do you went on a journey last year and maybe even a year before that, right? Did it start in 2024 or 2023?
So believe it or not, today is my 2-year anniversary of being being a carnivore and starting that journey. Literally today, I was on the phone with a friend of mine a second ago. He was asking me some questions. I was like, "Oh shit, it's January 22nd." It's just like my birthday. It's another day, but
Yeah.
it's extremely significant. So it was probably 2 years ago um, that I started that. For those who don't know, 2 years ago, I wasn't as sexy as what I am right now.
Brown chicken. Brown.
All my fine had turned into fluff, and so I needed to reverse that process and get the fluff back into fine. And for me, Joe, it started off because I had nodules on my vocal cords, which you knew, and for those who don't know, I've sang for most of my life, and so to get that and to go from singing almost every day of my life to not even being able to hum, like it was a wing dinger. It was a big deal for me. And on top of that, I had sleep apnea, acid reflux. The doctor wanted to order a CPAP machine, which is real sexy. Sit next to your
But yeah,
your your girlfriend that's 10
Darth
years
Vader
younger than
sexy.
you.
Yeah.
Well, look, at least
Looking like Gonzo.
Oh man, it just was not good. So they had ordered a CPAP machine, and I was like, man, you know what? I can do much better than this. Like that's not good at all. And so I did my own research, and against the recommendations of most people around me, I went and did that, and I lost 65 pounds in 68 days. Because for me, I was like, I know it took me years to get this fat, but I cannot take 5, 6, 7 years to get this off of me. Like
Right.
I had to compress that time. Because, Elon Musk says this: if someone gives you 13 years to clean a house, you'll take 13 years to clean that house.
Exactly.
He said, if somebody gives you 3 hours to clean that house, you'll figure a way to clean that house in 3 hours. Like it's the expectation that you put on yourself that really makes the difference, in how fast something can be accomplished. And so I stopped snoring in 6 days, Joe. I mean, literally, she had woke me up on day 6 and was like, I didn't hear a word, and I haven't snored since. I mean, I have to be really, really sleepy and really,
Yeah.
really drunk to get some kind of, something out of there. And then, last year, in June, I went on a 7-day all water fast back in June. I just felt like I wanted to implement it. Ironically, my grandmother ended up dying within that time. I think it was really just perfect timing as far as like grounding myself with that situation there. But I went on that 7-day fast, and I said, you know what? I think from now on, I'm going to do an extended fast twice a year. And so in December, I think December 3rd, December 4th, I decided I was going to do a 21-day all water fast instead of just 7 days. And so that's what I did. And, of course, everybody, man, you're going to kill yourself, just the normal stuff. I will tell you, Joe, I had so many miracles personally, physically, mentally that took place in that 21 days. It was such an intimate just experience in and of itself. And when I say I fasted, like I was drinking distilled water. So I didn't even have minerals in the water. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I was out of there, done. And I'll tell you this, man. I had never really felt more in tune with God than in those 21 days. I'm telling you, it was crazy. And, I'm not trying to go woo woo. Oh, by the way, there's a little static in the mic. I don't know if that's on your end or on my end. I just didn't want it to mess with the cord. And I think it's on your end. I could hear it changing as you do that. There it is. Yep, all gone.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Perfect.
But this hit me like a ton of bricks last month, Joel, and I'm not trying to be deep or anything like that. We'll get to some funny shit here in a minute. But scripture says, I can't remember, it might have been Paul talking to Timothy, I can't remember, but he says, I wish above everything that I could wish for you, that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And like I've heard that scripture my entire life, but it hit me like a ton of bricks when I was on that fast, because it made me realize even more than what I already knew, that the relationship between my mental health, my spiritual health, and my physical health they're not separate things. Like all of these things must be working in order for me to be an optimal human being. And so there's a lot of times you see people who have a lot of money, they've like accomplished that type of abundance and whatnot, and they're very smart individuals and their mental is in the right place, but they're fat slobs, and with that triune cord that needs to be connected is broken. And I believe that there are things that we miss out on from a spiritual aspect when these things are not in harmony together. Because scripture says, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, or so if we believe like that the Spirit of God lives on the inside of us, why would we treat the temple that houses the universe, Spirit of God, whatever, terrible? But then we put so much emphasis on praying or on fasting or on going to therapy. How many times growing up in the church we grew up in, how many times did we see these successful preachers get up there and they could barely breathe because they were big as the damn stage that they were standing on?
Oh my God. I forgot his name, but he was huge. And he sat next to a guy one time on a plane, and he told this story and he was proud of it. And he probably was. And I know a lot of people don't know who Scott Graham is, but this dude was freaking massive. And he boasted on the fact that he sat on a plane and the guy next to him kind of was like, shocked that he was that big. And they started chatting, and the guy said, man, you gotta lose some weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Scott said in so many words, he goes, I would rather meet me on the highway than a drunk driver, and was excited about the fact that you'd rather meet a fat person than someone on marijuana or drugs or drinking. And I'm like, how are you equating those things? You're putting it into a scenario that is like, I'm 500 pounds. They're not equal.
Majoring on the minors is what I call it.
Yes, 100%.
It's extreme. I think as Americans, especially with the state that our food system is in, hopefully RFK will do a big overhaul of that.
Name drop.
Yeah, listen, but with the with
your dog caught a squirrel.
Oh no, I thought there was some arguing, but my neighbor's just loud. But when it comes to our food and stuff like that, we have so many people in our country that are straight up just addicted to the food that we eat. And I'm not just talking about the Fruity Pebbles and all that shit. They're addicted to the foods, all of it that they eat. And, that's why you see a lot of people when it comes to get my health together, you don't see them really changing what they eat. You see them going to the gym. Because in my opinion, it's easier for me, not saying that the gym is easy, but in my experience, I have opted to go to the gym and, instead of changing the way that I ate or modifying it in a big way, because it was easier to go to the gym than it was for me to change, because I'm not addicted to the fucking gym. I'm not addicted to the movement. I'm addicted to the food that I freaking eat. And I think that's where a lot of people, they get discouraged because they go to the gym and they don't really see any results. I think the real battle is on the table at home in the kitchen. I think the gym, I think everybody should be moving. I think it keeps us young. I think it keeps us youthful, keeps us moving. But I think the gym, in my opinion, is to polish and make this thing look better when we've already done the work of cleaning and out and doing the food work. And I think a lot of people miss that aspect of being healthier.
Well, let's drop on that, because there's a rule, right? And a lot of people don't know this. If you got 100% of health, and when it comes to fitness, 80% of it is food.
Yeah.
20% is the 80-20 rule. 20% is the gym. So I'm gonna circle back on exactly what you said and give you maybe a view of why people do that. And when you said that, it hit me. The gym is like going to church. The gym is like going to an event.
Mhm.
You're presenting yourself
Mhm.
in a way, to be seen.
1000%.
At home, people get comfortable.
Yeah.
This is their safe space.
The
This is
accountability
where they feel
leaves.
like they can be themselves,
Yep.
right? Let's add to that. Go to church. I'm a good Christian on Sunday. It's going to therapy. You're
Mhm.
going to something in an active pursuit to
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Then what do you take away from that,
Mhm.
right? Do you
Mhm.
take the things that you learn in therapy and implement them
Mhm.
into your day-to-day life?
Mhm.
What do you do when nobody's looking?
Right.
That challenges people,
That's
and
a that's
that's
a
a
big
failure that
yeah.
happens on a lot of fronts because it is easy to walk in your house and kick your shoes off, get in your pajamas, and sit on the couch and eat a bag of Doritos.
Yeah. No,
It's easier to do that, but then be in the gym and show I'm active,
yeah, I can
and
take
then when it
pictures.
fails, when you don't accomplish your goal, you can say I just don't have good genetics. I tried hard.
Or I
Now
got busy.
I got busy. I did everything that I needed to do. Really, let's be real with ourselves. Just like someone who goes to church and they're there to get God, man, take that out. You can
Yeah.
get it. You can get God anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think the point that you kind of hit on through the fast and all of this, it's being present and understanding yourself and knowing when you're addicted to things and that focus in a mental health that will help you accomplish. So you have to start with awareness
Yeah.
and understanding that you have a problem
Yeah.
and acceptance of that.
Yeah, you're 1000% correct. There's a saying that says it's probably in scripture. I'm just trying not to say scripture all the time, but I just know so
I
much.
mean, don't be so churchy.
But it says it's not what's outside of a man that defiles him. It's what goes within the man that defiles him. How often we were just talking about a scenario earlier today where what you saw about this person on the outside was totally different than who this individual was inwardly. And you realize that, oh, this little shell that they've got going on, this is just a shell. What's inside this person was, I mean, it blew your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was inside of that individual. And I think, to your point, if I go to the gym, that is my external showing. If I post the pictures of me sweating and doing all of that, whatever, but the internal work is, how do I hold my own self accountable whenever no one else is looking, when no one else is watching, when no one else can, because I can turn my camera back on tomorrow. I can tell you what I did, but I know if I'm telling the fucking truth or not.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I think a lot of people try to fake it. I mean, you see this across multiple scenarios. You got teenagers like, I'm a millionaire, and they're filming and they got this fake background, and then if you really see it, they're in an apartment,
Yeah.
$1,200 a month. Like, just be true to yourself and present yourself accurately. And you do have to break yourself down. You hit bottom, right, with your health.
Yeah.
You had an issue that caused you to take a step back and actually look at your life and say, what is the cause of this and all these other causes?
Mm-hmm.
I know you've mentioned this, and I agree with you 100%. If you get on a journey of health, you're going to have people in your life that have negative comments and negative views of what you're doing and how that affects you. I think a lot of people fall into that trap where
Yeah.
they want to keep their friends.
Yeah.
They want to keep those relationships cordial with their family,
Mm-hmm.
and they will take a step back from that healthy journey
Yeah.
simply because of the comments they're getting
Yeah.
or the looks.
Yeah.
They won't go to the gym because they're large and they feel like people are staring at them. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of there's a lot of self doubt in that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an internal thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot people have to overcome. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know you experienced it.
You got to change your tribe. That's
Exactly.
You have to change. Bad company corrupts good character. It corrupts good intentions. For me, I don't think I've ever seen, unless they're just, some steroided out bimbo, type of jerks. You're not going to see someone who is in shape making fun of someone who's trying to get in shape. It is, they may have some dicks out there, but for the most part, I admonish anyone, I implore anyone, and I celebrate anyone that makes the decision to go from where they are to where they're trying to be. On the other hand, every person, and I can just speak for myself, every person that had something negative to say about what I was doing, almost exclusively, I would not trade bodies with them if I had the chance.
Yeah. What's that phrase? People in misery love company.
People in misery love fucking company. And you have to, I think literally, you just have to change your tribe. Like, there's some people in my family I fucking quit talking to about that stuff and was only feeding into the individuals that would give me the energy back that I knew was going to be positive and help me getting to that result. That's why I always talk about you. It's not that I'm trying to blow smoke up you, but I really felt so supported. You never said you never said anything negative about what I was doing. All you ever did when you saw me was like, "Oh man, you're looking good." Man, you never even said, "Well, this might be kind of dangerous," or, "Hey man, I'm the only thing I can ever remember you ever doing was saying, 'Hey, so you're doing this. Tell me a little bit more about that so I can understand.'" That was it. I mean, I think that might have been the extent. That's the type of tribe that I need to be in. And so if the people around me aren't celebrating where I'm trying to be, that's a surefire way to know that I'm around the wrong people now. And what sucks is that most of the time, those are close people, whether they be family or friends. But remember, this goes back to what we said earlier. What is the cost that I'm willing to pay?
Yeah.
In
I
order
agree.
to get that. And the cost fucking sucks. Who wouldn't want to live in a free house and drive free cars and eat free food? It sucks to go and pay, but it's the cost that you got to fucking pay. And not allowing people to put, I remember one person slid into my DMs during the 21-day fast, and I had enough of her. And I finally just said, you know what? Don't project your inability to be disciplined on me. Because
Exactly.
what I'm doing, every time you come into my inbox and you have something negative to say about this, all you're doing is exposing the fact that I'm offending you by the discipline that you lack. And
Strong, man.
that's
right.
That really is what the fuck it is, because anyone who's doing something good for themselves wouldn't be in my inbox trying to convince me of how wrong the good that I'm trying to do for myself is, or giving me all of these, "Oh, I'm concerned about you." I'm so that no, be concerned about the fact that you ate 4 fucking Pop-Tarts last 30 minutes. Don't be concerned about me. Shit, you could probably stand to not eat for fucking 60 days the way you're fucking looking. Don't be concerned about me. And you have to be willing to cut fucking people out of your life, man. And not even in a mean way. Some people don't serve you good in the season that you're going into. And you just have
Exactly.
to recognize who that tribe is and who that tribe isn't. And it don't matter who it is. I've had to start asking myself, is my goal or my dream, is it transferable, or would I swap it to continue to be in relationship with this person that refuses to elevate themselves? And I'm just not there anymore. I can't do it.
You're right, man. It's definitely a challenge to let go of negative people in your life.
Yeah.
Even though, because you've had them.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a hard conversation to have. And I think a lot of people need to have more hard conversations.
Yeah.
They need to have it first with themselves.
Yeah.
It's a lot of self-awareness. So
Yeah.
I actually am encouraged with, I guess, our society and the awakening, you would call it, of the awareness, and also the amount of information. We're not relying on one government entity
Mm-hmm.
to kind of give us direction on health. And
Yeah.
we can try a bunch of different things. Like, I'll give you kudos. I am not a full carnivore, but I'm a carnivore during weekdays. I started around November.
Mm-hmm.
I'd done a month before,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started again in November. And man, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But it fits into my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where I want flexibility.
Yeah.
To be able to enjoy my weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Be with my kids.
Yeah.
Enjoy, a night out at dinner, having
Mm-hmm.
a cheat day, doing those kind of things. And I don't see the repercussions because I've already have the ability to convert that back into
Mm-hmm.
positive,
Mm-hmm.
where my body's like, we're back on this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, it's just a little thing, right?
Yeah.
It comes up. It's like, oh, you've introduced carbs, but you know what? That's not what I run on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a carnivore state.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in combination, I think when it comes down to there's not one size fits all, right? My body type is a high protein, high fat, low carb. It maintains muscle mass, lower body fat, even though I'm introducing more fat into my body. I drop into ketogenics with intermittent fasting every single day. And so I've found my groove to maintain my physical fitness.
Right.
And I would say, like, since November, it has been easier to maintain muscle mass on a carnivore diet.
Sure.
Inside of those 5 days. And so I appreciate that because I mean, I look forward to coming home and making a steak.
Hell
Now,
yes.
I go ribeye most of the time. Ain't gonna lie. T-bones and ribeyes.
Yeah.
That's kind of my go-to.
I love ribeye.
But I'm not.
I like strip.
I'm not
strip
tired
and
of it
fillet.
yet.
Yeah.
I love a fillet, but that extra little fat and gristle, in the sense of like the chard on it, man. Now I won't pass it for sirloin either, but
Right.
I don't. With the breakup of the weekend, where I can kind of introduce some extra things, I don't get burned out. So, what are your thoughts on? Are there any sources? Which is a great question for people to figure out their body types, and also like what is that balance? Because there's got to be like levels to a carnivore diet. You can go hardcore one extreme, or you can be moderate in it. Because I know there's calculators out there where you can say, okay, I want to have 1 gram of protein per body weight, but also you can increase that, drop those carbs down, and you're not going to get the 100% same effect, but you're going to get a portion of that effect over a longer period of time.
Yeah. So I think, I personally don't use a calculator because, for me, I kept nothing of my former diet into it. But what I think is what we could probably do, there are some guys that I know on Instagram and stuff that actually do that type of stuff. They have the counters for that, whatnot. And maybe we could put that specifically in the show notes towards the
I'm
end.
going to link a few things.
Yeah, so we can do that. I know for me, let me tell you why I went so hardcore. And then let me tell you why I think there's probably 2 schools of thought. You, Joel, you're already such a disciplined individual. This, again, it's not me just shining your ass, but you're very disciplined.
Slide down the snow hill.
Slide on down there. You're a very disciplined individual. You're a Marine, which which is from the halls of Montezuma, which comes with its own ascended level of discipline in and of itself. So for you are a planner. You're very meticulous. You're calculated in the things that you do. So you're like, I'm going to eat this carnivore Monday through Friday. And then I'm going to allow myself, and I know you don't even go off the rails with it.
No, I don't.
You're going, and I know part of it is that you don't even feel like you want to go off the rails. Because when you start feeling this good on carnivore and you start introducing certain other things back, even a little bit of that discomfort, you're like, fuck, I don't have any of that stuff when I'm just on my complete regimen all the time. I think people who are disciplined can do what you're doing. And I would admonish them to do that because I think that is an easier play overall for someone to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. Most people are not you. I'm just going to put that straight out there. Most people are, especially in the area of food, they are not that disciplined at all. And so I know for me, because of the state that I was in, when I say the state that I was in, I acknowledged the fact that I was addicted to carbohydrates. I never went into the kitchen and overate grilled chicken, or overate just regular hamburger patties with nothing on it. I was in there, cakes, cookies, chips, fries, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, the carbs. That's what I'm overeating on. That's what I'm in the kitchen at night in the refrigerator at 2 a.m. eating. And so for me, I had to completely eliminate the thing that had control over me because much like a meth addict, you don't tell a meth addict, hey, look, no meth except for 12 to 4.
Only on the weekends, buddy.
Only on the weekends, buddy. Go balls to the wall and recalibrate on Monday. It's the same thing with an alcoholic. You don't tell him, man, look, don't touch it except, Wednesdays from 2 to 6, you can drink a little whiskey. And then Fridays, from 12 to 6, you could drink some wine. Why? Because we know that they're not disciplined enough to stay in that. Once they get a little bit of that, they're probably going to take them off the rails. And so for me, I believe for most people, it is better for them to completely eliminate the things first, to get the cravings and just allow your body to fully become fat adapted for your body to start the transition from glucose to ketones and allowing that, to really set in. And then after you've eliminated because Joel, some people have some crazy cravings. Some people go into epileptic fits. Some people are throwing up. Some people are sweating it's crazy the amount of rehab and disconnect that people have to have from food. No different than when they're getting off of alcohol or any other type of drug. It's insane. The excuses. If you go and listen to a fat person's excuses as to why they can't get better, they sound eerily similar to a drug addict or an alcoholic. Eerily.
Yes.
Eerily. Like down to some of the reasons why they eat. Some people are alcoholics because they were molested as a kid and now they're fighting with that. I know people who are fat because they were molested as a kid and now they're fighting with that. There's people who are depressed because their father didn't treat them right. And now they're eating because their father, the scenarios go hand in hand. And so for me, I teach people, get rid of the drug first and get the victory over that thing first. And then from a place of victory, start figuring out, hey, what things do I want to incorporate back into my diet, if anything at all? But I think people really fail whenever they start trying to compromise themselves and negotiate with themselves on an issue that they haven't gotten the victory in yet. And
Exactly.
so for me, I preach a complete get the fuck off of that thing and then allow your body to get full of that. And then once you get to that point and you're victorious in this area, now I can start to see, hey, maybe I want to eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that, knowing that you're in control of that thing.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, you just spoke about what I was about to jump on, the control.
Mm-hmm.
It's controlling the things you can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
My recommendation for everyone listening is start with something to give yourself motivation.
Yeah.
To know that you can actually change a habit.
Yeah.
And control. So Jordan Peterson says in the 12 rules to live by, and this is a simple one. I've heard it so much and I adopted it years ago, but I've also got the discipline from the military. When you wake up, make your bed. Let's give yourself a test. Get up, make your bed every day.
Yep.
Become a habit.
Yep.
Make it a habit. It's not fun to do, but let's see how easy it is to do something every day, and it's small.
Yeah.
Start small, because a lot of people hear that, Brandon, and they'll say, "Damn, I can't just. I got a wife, a kid, a husband. I'm always taking clients out. I'm doing these things. How am I going to just stop cold turkey?" Because when they say that, what they're actually saying is, I don't think I could do it.
I agree.
So that's something internal that they have to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Is yes, you do have that control.
Mm-hmm.
You do, and you can build discipline. But discipline's not just, you're not born with discipline.
Right. You made the choice to do what you've done.
You have. And so discipline is a learned habit. This is what a lot of people don't think. Like, oh, I've never been disciplined, or I've never been organized, or I'm scatterbrained, and I've never had a clean house. I'm just not that person. I'm just not born that way. No, you've learned these habits.
Mm-hmm.
A baby doesn't know one day it's going to live in a house where it has to have things to do to keep that house in order.
Yeah.
That is a learned trait. You may learn it from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You may learn it through friends, roommates, partners, in whatever scenario, because you can be that way at a young age with your parents, super organized, and you can rebel on it.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that you can control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really does come down to recognizing that maybe there's a small little thing like making your bed every day to give you the understanding and know, you know what, I can control my discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can be disciplined.
Yeah.
And it takes you 5 minutes or less to make a bed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take you changing your entire food habit.
Right.
But once you recognize that, maybe you do another thing that's bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you're taking steps, right, to it. Not everyone like you can just cut off cold turkey.
I agree.
but it'll give you confidence. I think the underlying thing is confidence that you can be that type of person that can make big leaps
Yeah,
in your health.
yeah, I agree with that, and I do think you have to prove there's certain things that you have to do to kind of psych yourself out to prove to yourself that you can do certain things, and that's why I said I think there's two types of an individual. I think there are those individuals that can put a plan in place and see that plan over time come into fruition and get it done. And for those of you who can do that, I would admonish you to do that, because I mean, those little bitty things over time become great contributions to your life. Like, for instance, just like the making of the bed. I made a choice that if I am in the kitchen and I'm cooking something, I'm cleaning that fucking kitchen as I'm cooking. Joel, I can't stand a dirty kitchen. I hate dishes in my fucking sink. I think, and maybe part of that's from my grandparents and then my mom, that shit just being drilled into me. But I think it's so fucking lazy to leave all of that shit sitting in the goddamn sink all night long to be festering and all of that. But for me, I learned if I clean as I go, then by the time I'm done cooking, I don't have this mountain of stuff because that's where the overwhelm comes, is when you let that stuff build up for so fucking long. And now you're staring, what used to be a little molehill, now it's a fucking mountain. And you're like, what the hell do I do with this? And so I feel for people that this thing has not become a mountain, I feel like they can take a step back and be a little more calculated and plan out these things and do, because they're not looking at a mountain.
Right.
But there's other people who are literally looking at fucking Mount Kilimanjaro, whether it be their finances, whether it be their health, whether it be, their mental state, whatever it may be. And I was telling Bobby this the other day, Bobby Marie, I said, if I needed to knock my house down, people would look at me like I was crazy if I stood outside of my house and threw rocks at this motherfucker for the next 20 years trying to knock this house down. They would think I had lost my mind, because this is a big thing now. Maybe whenever they were just starting to put shit up, smaller weapons would have been able to take this thing down. But now this is a full-blown house. This thing's been here for 100 years. It's sustained itself through every hurricane, every flood. It's been here 100 years and it hadn't gotten knocked down. I need a fucking bulldozer to get this motherfucker down. And most people, I think a lot of people that say, especially with huge issues, that say, oh, I don't have the discipline to do it, they aren't honest with themselves about the magnitude of the problem that they're really facing. For me, when that doctor said you're 200 pounds and you have sleep apnea, you have this and you have that, I knew how big of an issue this was. And I said, okay, I could take some baby steps to try to fix this, but it's going to take too long and then I may end up dropping off. Like, I got to find a fucking sledgehammer for this bitch and take the sledgehammer to this thing, because it is it's just so monstrous. And I think people, again, not just with health, just with many areas in their lives, they're fighting that battle with mediocre tools. Like, some people's issues, you got to compress that time, get the biggest fucking weapon you can get and just slay that bitch sometimes. You know, some people, my mom used to say this all the time. I don't know if y'all know, but my mom's black. So my mom, mom, this is one of my mom's favorite things to have said. She would come downstairs and maybe me and the brothers were fighting or arguing. She'd be like, hey, stop that. Don't do that, whatever. And she'd probably do it a few times and we continue doing it. And she'd finally say, God damn it. Shit. Stop all that goddamn noise. You don't like when I talk nice to you. I had to get ignorant to change this situation. And, I feel like sometimes people, they balance to their detriment, because when most people say I need balance, most people lean on the lazier side of balance than on the work side of balance, And so I think people have to really just have enough, you have to be tired, like legitimately tired of the situation that you're in and not comfortable in the situation that you're in. Joe, nobody said anything to me about how I ate when I was fat. Nobody. We'd go out, eat 3-4 times a day. And people, hey, let's go out, let's drink, let's eat, let's do this. Nobody had a problem with it whatsoever. The moment I made the decision to do something different, avalanche of opinions coming my way. Right. But you just have to fucking say, you know what, this is a big deal. And what I have to accomplish is a big deal. and I need to just put the fucking work in and get it done. And eating right is one of those fucking things. I mean, just think of just people in your life that you know are bound because of the shit that they eat every day. Bound, literally bound. Can't ride in public transportation comfortably. Can't get around in an airplane comfortably. Can't fit clothes comfortably. Diabetes problems, high blood pressure, all of it, and all that shit's from what they eat. Literally.
Yeah. I think we're coming up on an hour, so I think
Yeah.
we'll wrap up soon. But I wanted to let's give people like a little roadmap, right? And this is what was coming to my head. When you say health, actually encompasses everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same roadmap when it comes to mental health, physical health, emotional health. Number one, accept it. See where you are. Look in the mirror. And I'll say my list, and then you can kind of like compile, give some more things. So what comes to my mind, a recognition of it. Look at yourself and evaluate yourself. And in any of these states, if you're physically healthy, but you're mentally not healthy, this still applies. Understand and know where you are with your own discipline to change those things. It's a little bucket here. So you have to be self-aware of those attributes that you have and don't have. You need to clean house. You need to remove things that are adding negative value to these categories.
Mm-hmm.
You need accountability. You need an accountability partner. That may be a therapist. That may be a workout partner. That may be a fitness coach. That may be any form, but you need accountability.
Yeah.
Because it removes you from hiding within the walls of your home
Mm-hmm.
and allowing yourself to get comfortable where no one else can see you.
Yeah.
And you can kind of do what you want to do. I mean, I've heard of, there's TV shows where people will come in and clean out your cabinet.
Yeah.
So if it takes that, understand where you are. What level are you?
Mm-hmm.
And how much discipline you have, and truly, truly sit down and focus on how much discipline do I have to actually clean out my kitchen? How much discipline do I have to release these negative people from my life, relationships that are messing me up emotionally? What are the things in my life mentally that are distracting me from actually accomplishing my goals?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Go and check with your provider. And when I say that, all three of those fall into that same level. They're different doctors, but check with a professional.
Yeah.
We can go on the rich side of people, and we can go on the poor side.
Mm-hmm.
On the poor side, I'll give you a simple thing. Change your algorithm in social media.
Change your algorithm.
Go in there and just start searching whatever one you're focused on. Physical health. Go find workout people. Start following them. Your algorithm is going to change.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to see in your reels? Instead of goofy, funny little videos, you're going to see motivation, motivational speakers, physical fitness workout people giving tips. Not to say you have to follow all of them, but what you see, you perceive and tend to want to emulate. Mental health, physical health, emotional health. Whatever one of those you need to focus on when it comes to health, you have to surround yourself with it. Social media is all about the algorithm is all about what it thinks you want. Change what you want. And that's very simple because you be strategic with it. If you want to see fluffy puppies, you're going to get fluffy puppies. Like, let's be real. You have to control the environment that majority of us are in.
Yeah.
Social media is a huge part of your life. You can walk through therapy on your social media in ways that you would never understand just by inspirational speakers and quotes. Because that's where you are in your life. So it's almost like you want to project where you want to be. Look those things up. You can be like physically fit. Put that in there. That's your goal. Mentally stable, emotionally healthy. Literally, just type in emotionally healthy in your search, and on social media, TikTok, Facebook, you're going to get a world of knowledge. Some of it's not great. Some of it's amazing. You can weed out, but what you're going to get is you're going to get the online community surrounding you. Surround people in your life that you admire. Reach out, drop in people's DMs. Be open, transparent. These are hard things, but they're also simple.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree.
then set small goals and accomplish that goal. Set a 1 week goal. Once you do that and you're like, dang, I did that. Set a 1 month goal. Set a 6 month goal. And if you are a type of person that can just cut it off and do it immediately, then you can skip a lot of that and go for the hardcore.
Only if it's necessary.
Maybe you've had the discipline in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you were in the military. Maybe your parents were that way, and you've rebelled. And you fall into this like little pattern in life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's like you have to focus on the internal, the mental for any of these to get that outcome you want externally.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. No, you're 1,000% correct. And I think, again, it comes back to people having to be honest with themselves about where they are. There are areas in our lives where you need to plan this out and take those small steps. And then there are areas where you need to take a bulldozer. You need to identify, which one of those areas need what weapon or whatever tool it is that you're going to utilize. But it comes from, I hate to sound like I'm just beating a dead horse, but really deciding what is it going to cost for whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish, period. And then be honest with yourself, because if you write it down, now it's plain. It's right here in front of you. And now you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, I want to put, I don't know, $25,000 in my 401k this year. Okay, well, what is that going to cost me? Does that mean I need to make more money if I'm not going to change, cut back on spending? Does that mean I'm going to have to cut back on spending and cut the corners here so I can put more in there? Like, what is the cost? You got our better yet, Grant Cardone says, do the math. What's the math?
Yeah.
Break it
down to the day.
Break it down to the fucking day, and allow yourself to really say, and then to be man enough to say, you know what? I'm not going to pay that cost. And that's cool. But at least you're making the decision from honesty instead of avoiding it and then just kind of never, ever really making a decision, which is a decision in and of itself, to not do anything.
Yes.
But I really feel like if we were to take that approach and to really take a moment to say, this is what I want, what is it going to cost me? I think a lot of things would start to line up in our lives, because you can't, my people perish because of a lack of what they don't know. You can't go try to accomplish something if you don't fucking know. We had this pool outside that I got Marie for Mother's Day from Frito, and it was this $50 pool from Amazon. It was like 2.5 feet. It was a nice pool for that size. He had a little pump and everything. And she had this plan. She's going to go get the sod and put it down and measure it and do all of this and whatnot. Like, she thought about it, but she didn't count up what it was going to take enough. Because guess what? A couple of days later, it started to rain. And all of that mud and soil that we had put down started to run off. Was it because she didn't think about it? No, she thought about it. But man, she really didn't know what it was going to cost to get this done. So when her dad came down, he bought that mix that they put in like in the sand pits, where it's like the concrete and the sand mix, whatever. You kind of use the water in it. But he put that down, and that fixed the problem, because he came with his calculator, his mind, his experience, his expertise and understanding. And he was like, no, in order to do this, it's going to take that. And I feel like most people aren't doing the math. And even if they do the math and they fall short, instead of trying to recalibrate, they just fucking stop.
Or reach out.
Or they don't, yeah.
And with that, like, if anyone hears this and they have questions for Brandon or myself on our struggles that we've had, but also the outcomes of where we are physically and mentally and emotionally, reach out to us, DM us, comment.
Please.
We want to hear from you. Brandon, you want to give a plug for Carnivore? For your, have another,
Listen, guys, if on Instagram, I'm Mr. Carnivore Weight Loss. If you guys want to, just know more about the carnivore diet, some people call it the lion's diet, all semantics is whatever. But if you want to learn more about that, and what I believe is the way that we were meant to eat as human beings, and getting your health back in line, because it's not just your weight. So many people say, "Oh, I don't want to do it because I don't have any weight to lose." It's not just weight. You got healthy people, you got skinny people walking around here with some serious issues, and it all stems from what they're eating. And so if you want to reclaim your health, just reach out to me in the DMs. We can talk about me coaching you personally. I've also got some free resources I could give you as well. But I just want you to win. So reach out to me, Mr. Carnivore Weight Loss. I'll help you in any way I can.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. This wraps up the first episode of season 2.
Man,
One in the book.
you're looking good, boy. God damn it.
Man, I'm growing. You my hair. Look at that. I'm growing it up.
Me too. You see my
Look at the back. I haven't grown my hair out this long. It had really long time.
Yeah.
And I just watch. I'm gonna be Bradley Cooper in Hangover in the next couple of months.
Let it be, man. Listen, show these niggas that you can still grow hair.
I'm glad I have a full head of hair. Man, I looked up, I think it was a couple of nights ago, I looked up men over 6 feet, men over that make more than $100,000, men that have all their hair, and men that have six packs. You know what the percentage of human beings in the whole world are?
That have all 4 of those things?
And I have all 4 of those attributes. I can give you percentage and I can give you the number that's calculated just by, population and, however they come up with the algorithm.
3%.
Just give me a guess.
3%.
0.00 is 30.00074. It's 60,000 people out of 8 billion.
Shut the front door.
60,000 people. 60,000 men.
You're in the 1%, buddy.
Oh man.
You're in the less than 1%, buddy.
Oh man. That's
dude, that's a big deal. Listen, not to
I'm gonna make a t-shirt for it.
Dude, I mean, you're right. Andrew, I was listening to Andrew Tate the other day, then we can go. I was listening to Andrew Tate the other day talking his shit, and he was talking about his money and stuff, and somebody brought up Bill Gates. He was like, Bill Gates? He's like, yeah, sure, Bill Gates got more money than me, but he's a fat nerd. Who wants to be? He said, you put me in a room with a bunch of models, and it's me and Bill Gates, and I'll tell you which direction they're coming up, and it won't be Bill Gates.
On that, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
All right, Post Nation. I'll be good.
Y'all be good. I'm Brandon. It's Joel. We love y'all.
Love you. We're out. Hey, man. That's good.
Good.
Man, we got
shit.
That was good shit. I mean, I like how I know in 2025, I definitely want to focus on like giving like solution.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So I think adding in the show notes, like some link.
Yeah.
Those are going to be some focuses on season 2 where it's like actual actions that they can take, and
is it still recording?
No,
it says recording on
it's
my
just
side.
uploading.
It's weird. I can't hit it, but it's still typically whenever you stop it.